Welcome back to my channel, Recovering Your Health with Nutrition. If this is your first time visiting, thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Ife. I am a licensed family nurse practitioner. Preventative medicine is my passion, and here we talk all things health and wellness. Please take the time to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope you find my content very valuable enough to like and to share. Come on, let's get healthy together. I truly believe the best way to put an end to healthcare disparities is to become knowledgeable, educated stakeholders in your own health. All right, so today we're going to talk about the best diet for those that have kidney disease. I read and reviewed 2 recent publications on the best eating habits and diets for those with kidney disease. As a reminder, there are 5 stages of kidney disease. Stage 1 being the mildest, stage 5 being the worst, and most likely the patient at stage 5 will need dialysis. Oftentimes, there are no symptoms, signs, or symptoms for early stage kidney disease. You typically will find out that you have kidney impairment by going into your routine physical exams and having your routine blood work done. If you haven't already checked out my video on understanding your labs, please do so. I did part 1, and in that video I discussed the labs related to kidney function. So it will give you a better idea of understanding how well your kidneys are doing when you get your lab report. So check it out if you haven't already done so. One of the articles I reviewed was published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition in 2018, and the other was published in the Current Opinions on Nephrology and Hypertension. Nephrology is the branch of medicine that deals with the physiology of the kidney, or how the kidney works, and also the diseases that affect the kidney. So if you see a kidney specialist, that will be your nephrologist. You're going to see your nephrologist. The sources that I pulled these articles from are highly respected journal sources and opinions in the medical community. And once again, you will find that the medical community, through research, is taking us back to good old wholesome nutrition. So let's get into it. There's been some common myths that have been circulating, and I want to deal with these 2 most common myths as it relates to diet and kidney disease. Belief number 1, or myth number 1, is if you do not eat animal-based protein, you will become protein deficient. Well, there is ample data to support the argument that plant-based proteins are both nutritionally adequate and beneficial to those who have kidney disease. Myth number 2. Plant-based proteins may cause harm to non-dialysis kidney disease patients. This was thought to be true because plants have more phosphorus than animal-based proteins. Too much phosphorus in our diets can be harmful to the already impaired kidneys. So if you have kidney disease, you should be concerned about your phosphorus intake. And just as a side note, the food industry is not required to put labels of how much phosphorus is in the packaged food or the processed food. Just keep that in mind. Although plants do have more phosphorus than animal-based proteins, our bodies can more readily absorb the phosphorus in animal-based proteins than in plants. We absorb less phosphorus because we humans lack the enzyme phytase needed to break down much of the phosphorus found in plants. So why is this important to monitor your phosphorus intake if you have kidney impairment? I want you to listen closely. Our kidneys filter out excess dietary phosphorus. Impaired kidney function leads to more retention of phosphorus in our blood because it's unable to excrete all of the excess. Unfortunately, the excess phosphorus is not just hanging around, being good, not causing trouble, but it's looking to get into some trouble. So it's looking for some calcium. Excess phosphorus in your blood will bind to the calcium in your blood. Okay? And it creates these calcium deposits that can cause a lot of problems. The calcium deposits can cause your blood vessels to narrow, putting you at a greater risk of heart attack and stroke. Lower calcium levels now puts a demand on your body to pull calcium from your bones, making your bones weaker. Calcium deposits can also affect your joints. It can affect your eyes, your lungs, your heart. And once your calcium levels drop too low, it activates your parathyroid gland. Your parathyroid gland is responsible for regulating the calcium levels in your blood. So once parathyroid glands get into action, it releases a hormone called PTH. This hormone helps to promote production of more calcium. However, if you are constantly consuming foods that are high in phosphorus, you're having this chain reaction that's causing your parathyroid gland to overwork, and it goes into hyperactive mode. And so now you create an environment or a condition called hyperparathyroidism. And this comes along with its own complications and its own problems. An overactive parathyroid gland can cause lots of symptoms in your body. So you can experience muscle and joint pain, you tire easy, you have headaches, you're depressed, you feel ill for no apparent reason, you feel nauseous, you're vomiting, you can have loss of appetite, abdominal pain, excessive urination, kidney stones, even cardiac arrhythmias, okay? So look at the ripple effect of consuming too much dietary phosphorus. Dairy foods, animal-based products, red meats are high in phosphorus. And so I want you to really take the time to rethink what this means for you and see how you can use this information to slow the progression of your kidney disease, to possibly halt the progression of your kidney disease, and create a better overall quality of life. So another consideration for those of you that may have kidney disease is your protein intake, okay? So diets higher in protein increases the amount of waste products that need to be excreted from the blood by the kidneys. The kidneys now have to work harder, and this process is called hyperfiltration. Hyperfiltration can further damage the kidneys. So if you are consuming tons of protein, then you are at risk of further damaging your kidneys through a process called hyperfiltration. So before we go into the risk of too much acid, let's just review. If you have kidney disease, you want to consider and you want to be mindful of your phosphorus intake. So foods that are high in phosphorus, animal-based foods, because we can more readily absorb the phosphorus from animal-based foods, you want to minimize that. And I already went through the reasons why. Also, you don't want to over-consume protein, because if you have a diet that's super high in protein, you can cause your kidneys to have to work harder and create a situation called hyperfiltration, which can further damage your kidneys or cause your kidney disease to progress faster. So let's talk about acid. Animal-based proteins increase your dietary acid load. It makes your body more acidic. Metabolic acidosis is one of many risks that individuals with kidney disease have to think about. So what is metabolic acidosis? This is when the blood is very acidic, and this can lead to serious complications. Animal-based proteins produce enough acid that they are the primary contributor to the net acid load in our diets. And some of you who already have kidney disease, you may have been prescribed a sodium bicarbonate pill. We call it baking soda, but the pharmaceutical industry will sell it via your doctors as the sodium bicarbonate pill. And what does that do? It helps to make your blood less acidic. But you can eat foods that will do the same thing. And there are studies that show how beneficial whole plant-based foods are in lowering your acid load in your blood. Okay, so studies show that even a partial increase in the amount of plant-based foods consumed can reduce dietary acid loads. So again, and I say this throughout my videos, you may not be convinced to do 100% plant-based, but try your best to really consume more plant-based foods, whole, healthy plant-based foods, than animal-based foods, especially if you have kidney impairment. Plant-based diets are almost universally lower in protein content than the standard American diet. Okay, on average, a 160-pound person who consumes the typical standard American diet consumes daily between 87 grams to 110 grams of protein per day. That same 160-pound individual who is on a plant-based diet would typically consume about, let's say, 55 to 65 grams of protein per day. So generally, overall, much less protein intake, which is better for your kidneys. Any diet that has over 80 grams of protein per day is generally considered a high protein diet. So consider an 8-ounce steak. An 8-ounce steak has about 56 grams of protein. Okay, so a half of a whole chicken with the bones removed has about 82 grams of protein. So if you, throughout the day, if you have a steak, and nowadays you can go to the restaurant, or you can purchase out of the store a 12-ounce steak. Okay, an 8-ounce steak has 56 grams of protein. So if your kidneys are already impaired and you're eating steak and you're eating chicken, and then you're eating eggs, you're eating cheese, and all of the different common foods that we eat in our Western diet, you're really giving your kidneys a hard time. You're giving your kidneys, you're working out your kidneys. And you want to preserve your kidney function. So these are things to consider. So I want to read just the summary from the current opinions on nephrology and hypertension. So the summary from the leading minds who study, who research, and deal with all things kidney says this: plant-based diets should be recommended for both primary and secondary prevention of chronic kidney disease. I'm going to read that again. This is the recommendation. Now, I'm not sure if you'll hear it at your doctor's visit. It's definitely not mainstream, and I can imagine why. It's not mainstream. They probably don't want to upset some industries, but the summary says plant-based diets should be recommended for both primary and secondary prevention of chronic kidney disease. Concerns of hyperkalemia and protein inadequacy related to plant-based diets may be outdated and unsupported by the current body of literature. Healthcare providers in general medicine and nephrology can consider plant-based diets as an important tool for prevention and the management of chronic kidney disease. Well, I hope you got something out of the video. I hope it will help improve your quality of life. All of my viewers that have kidney disease or are at risk of developing kidney disease, please consider eating more whole food, whole plant-based foods in your diet to improve your overall health, to slow down the progression of your kidney disease, and possibly to prevent it from progressing at all. All right? Until next time, please stay well. See you later. Thank you for tuning in.